Hi, and here we are again in the kitchen for our September Catholic Cookbook Challenge. I'm Jennifer and this is Kate.
And each month this year, we're challenging ourselves to try a new recipe from a different Catholic cookbook.
So this month, the cookbook is From St. Hildegarde's Kitchen, Foods of Health, Foods of Joy, which, as we have discovered, is a very, very unusual cookbook.
And we're also going to be making a recipe from the Apple Cookbook. In our recent Things We Love About Fall video, we talked about our favorite fall cookbooks, and this was one of them.
So September cooking, here we go.
So first, let's talk a little bit about St. Hildegard of Bingen, whose feast day is September 17th.
She was an amazing woman, one of the most influential women of her time, which was the 12th century. She is also one of only 4 female doctors of the Catholic Church.
But she was also a botanist, a musician, a Benedictine nun, a mystic, and a scholar, so she was very busy. And one of her specialties was her knowledge of human nutrition. She wrote 2 books on health and healing, and some of her original recipes are included in this cookbook.
So this cookbook has some truly interesting, at least for us, ingredients. We didn't know when we got a copy of it. Things like nettles and angelica and spelt flour and licorice powder. Those are items that we don't normally cook with here, so we are definitely trying something new.
And a lot of her recipes are very interesting and unusual, including things like anti-nausea cakes, ginger laxative cookies, and galangeal electuary, which is something.
Yeah, an electuary, we had to look that up. It's actually a type of medicinal tonic that is flavored with honey or something else to make it sweet. And this one is used particularly for people who are suffering from chest, heart, or spleen, or maybe liver pain. One of those.
So there you go.
Yeah, there's it right up. Galangeal electuary.
And Hildegarde writes often about foods that bring health and joy. So after going through all our unique options, we decided to go with cookies that bring joy.
Because that sounded a whole lot better to us than the ginger laxative cookies, just saying.
And then from our Apple cookbook, we wanted to try something new and different. Ever since apple season started, we've had apple pie, apple bread, apple sauce, apple cider, all of the usual staples.
All delicious.
So we wanted to go out on a limb and try something completely different. So we are going with rice stuffed apples.
Which is delicious. Sounds delicious.
Maybe.
Kate's
I'm a little skeptical about that.
Kate's not convinced about this. But I do want to note that it has allspice and ginger in it in the recipe, and those are 2 of the spices that bring joy according to Hildegard of Bingen. So I'm sure rice stuffed apples will bring us lots of joy.
So we're going to start with the cookies that bring joy, and for that you need spelt flour, brown sugar, butter, eggs, salt, honey, and then the spices that bring joy mixture, which is cloves, nutmeg, and cinnamon.
Now I'm just laughing. It sounds like a Marie Kondo recipe. Cookies that bring joy, spices that bring joy. But I was reading the recipe, and Hildegard of Bingen suggested that adults should eat 5 of these cookies a day. And I think she was onto something, because 5 cookies a day, that definitely brings me joy. I've melted the butter and I'm adding brown sugar in, whisking that all together with the honey. Adding 4 egg yolks, beating that together, making up the spices of joy, cinnamon, ginger, and cloves, so I can add that in with salt and spelt flour. And now I'm mixing it all together. The spelt flour really has a grainy sort of texture. It's very interesting. Now we've chilled the dough and we're rolling it out. It's not very excited about being rolled out, but we're doing our best here. And we decided to use a fall leaf cookie cutter that seemed appropriate for the time of year. And here we are, scooping them onto the cookie sheet. Some of them wanted to go more willingly than others. So here they go into the oven. They did spread out a lot while we were baking.
And now for the rice stuffed apples, you're going to need apple juice, rice, raisins, but we have craisins because that's what we prefer, so we're going to use those. Then butter, an onion, ground ginger, apples, and allspice, which we found out that we didn't have.
I thought we had it. It's my fault.
So we had to mix up a substitute, which turns out to be the spices that bring joy again.
So how fortunate was that? We had mixed up a batch for the cookie recipe, and now we can use it in this recipe as well. We're going to be extra happy and joyful, and God provides. We're starting off by chopping the onion, and as soon as Bishop Beagle heard the cutting board, he came running, but there is no meat in this recipe, so he did not stay with us long. So the onion's going into the chopper so it can go into a hot skillet and be sauteed. Now we're adding water to the skillet and our homemade allspice, the rice, and then a little bit of ginger. It's starting to smell really good in here now. We brought that to a simmer, and then we just covered it, put it on low, and then let it sit for, 15 or 20 minutes. During which time we worked on the apples, coring them and carving out the insides. Wasn't the easiest thing to do with just a regular knife, but we managed. And here we're chopping up apples so we can add them to the rice mixture. We've got the apples in the pan and we're filling them. We forgot to put the craisins in with the rice mixture, so we just decided that we would add them on top. Not perfect, but it'll work. We're dotting them with butter, covering them with foil to cook, and then here it is after they're done.
Alright, so here we are. The cookies are done, the apples are done, and we're going to start with the cookies first.
And so before we taste them, I want to read to you what St. Hildegarde said that these cookies could do for you. So these cookies may help strengthen the five senses and may prevent aging, in which case I should eat them all, right? Okay, they may remove hate from the heart, assure good intelligence, reduce harmful juices, and make one have a joyful spirit. They did spread out a lot when we cooked them, but this is, you kind of can tell they're a leaf, but yeah. Okay, so here you go. It's fine. They smell good. They're soft.
You can taste the spices, but it's very mild, if you could use that word. Not bad though.
They remind me of like a molasses type cookie, except with a little different texture. We had not ever cooked with spelt flour before. It really does have a cream of wheat type of texture, so it's fun.
That's good.
Fun to try something different. Do I look younger yet?
So the recipe itself wasn't always the easiest to follow. It was a little bit vague, like when do you put in the spices, or are the cookie sheets greased or not? So it wasn't the easiest.
It also didn't roll out very well.
It was very sticky dough.
Yeah, very sticky dough, and then the dough spread out a ton in the oven. So I don't know if St. Hildegarde wants adults to eat 5 huge cookies every day. So you might, if you try the recipe, adjust down. But the book does have all kinds of fascinating recipes and all kinds of fascinating information about different herbs and elixirs and things that could help you. It reminds me almost of a homeopathic type of health cookbook.
So it's an interesting book, but it was definitely a fun run to work with. Could be great if you're interested in all the different health benefits from foods.
All right, so now we are going to try the apples. They do smell very delicious. So we are
See what they taste like.
See what they taste like. They have just recently come out of the oven, so they might be pretty hot. We'll just do a little. This could almost be like a meal in itself, I think. Yeah.
The cookbook was recommending it as a side, I think, but
be a different type of side, unusual. Okay, so I'm gonna try the rice first. Okay, so I don't know what to say quite about this one. Usually a baked apple, you think of something sweet and delicious, but I feel as though this recipe is a little bland.
The rice's pretty much only flavor is onion. And I think the rice mixture could have use some more flavors like salt or a more of the allspice mixture.
Yeah, the onions with the apple, that's kind of a weird
onion and apple isn't
flavor combination.
It's not working.
Yeah, it's not really working for me. I'm trying to think of what we could do to fix this, but it's got the onion, so you wouldn't want like sugar or cinnamon with onion. Oh my gosh.
Some salt and that would be better.
So I guess this is meant to be a savory side dish.
I'd rather have my like cinnamon and sugar baked apple than my onion and rice.
I don't know if we'll repeat this recipe, but it was fun to try something new, which is what we definitely wanted to do.
All right, 2 cookbooks, 2 recipes. The winner was definitely Hildegarde.
I agree. I think that this one we would definitely make again. It's also a really nice gluten-free option if you have dietary restrictions. Other recipes in this book we like better, so yeah.
We're not going to be making the apple rice dish again.
No, if you've ever made a dish similar to that, give us suggestions in the comment box what we could do to fix it or make it better. Oh well, win some, lose some. We tried. Okay, so that wraps up our September Catholic Cooking Challenge.
We hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.